give away the introduction, let me invite the President, Engineer Grania. President, over to you.
Our guest speaker today, Engineer Lalit Madhupitiya, all council members, past presidents, chairman of electrical and electronics telecommunications sector, and the committee members, and the members of late Engineer Wimalasurendra, members of the institution who are joining through online Zoom also today, and all those who had assembled here at the Wimalasurendra Auditorium today, CEO and the Executive Secretary and other staffs of the Secretariat, ladies and gentlemen. When we, just to have a preamble introduction, when you look back at our history, we find a number of figures stand out as having made significant contributions to the country's development through various innovative engineering deliveries. When we examine their thought processes and professional career and life, there is much more we can gain and learn from them that we can really incorporate into our thoughts as lessons learned. ISL had recognized this need and so organized memorial orations to honor engineering genius each year. Today, we are commemorating one such outstanding engineering figure, Engineer Dr. D.J. Vijayasundara. Today falls his 51st birthday anniversary. He was a very key figure in developing hydropower, as we all aware, in the country, and he's also recognized as the father of hydropower in Sri Lanka. First of all, let me welcome our speaker again today, Engineer Lalit Madhupitiya. Thank you very much for accepting the and be the speaker for today. I think Engineer Lalit definitely should be the most suited person to have the memorial oration today. Just to go through a little bit about the life of Engineer Wimalasurendra. He was born in 1874 in Galle and was educated at Ananda College. Some of the things I have put here salient points so that the audience can have a look on that one also. So he had excelled in science and mathematics. Then he joined the Technical College Colombo in 1893 while serving as an trainee at the garment factory, and he was the first graduate in civil engineering. He completed his engineering studies in 1898 by sitting for the examinations conducted in India by the ICUK that time. Engineer Wimalasurendra worked for some time as an assistant civil engineer, then at the PWD. I think positioned at station Diatalawa, then Galle and Norwood also. The Damodara loop, all of us very well aware. It was really designed by himself and constructed by him in 1901. You may be wondering why this person had been graduated in civil engineering, and we are memorizing him as the father of hydropower. While being stationed at Diatalava, that he did those designs. It was during his service at PWD that he became very much interested on hydropower. That's the way that he simply got shifted to interest on hydropower projects. In 1912, he proceeded to UK to specialize in electrical engineering and gain the Faraday House diploma within a period of 7 months and obtained the associate membership of the IC electrical in UK. Okay. Having had these initial proposals on hydropower, he developed the initial proposals for hydropower, but it was ignored by the Engineering Association of Ceylon. Then, but without even stopping with that refusal, he first developed the mini hydropower station in Bedford between Nuerelia and Anwar and supplied electricity to the Nuerelia city town. In 1988, he presented his historic paper titled as Economics of Power Utilization in Ceylon before the Engineering Association of Ceylon, I think today ISL. Arguing the case for the development of hydro potential for the country. He was arguing through that paper. He also strongly promoted the electrification of the railways in that era as the concept for developing the national grid. I still can remember one other thing. When the electrification of the railway network is considered, I still could remember there was an engineer after the Wimalasurendra, engineer Sada Subasinghe, who held a lot of time for 33 years after him for electrification with the feasibility studies. Engineer, some past president would be aware. He carried out the feasibility and proved that it is viable and tried all attempts to have the link from Panaduru to Veyangoda. And he handed over that one, I still can remember about 20 years earlier, to the council. Please proceed. Okay, but we still the same position here. Okay, going further. Then he got the chartered engineer status of IC UK and also the chartered status IEEE UK. It's also a rare achievement, but in that era there were one or two professionals in having two charter status, but engineer Wimalasurendra being a civil engineer and then subsequently obtained IE UK also. He did an in-depth study of the Laxpan hydroelectric project, which the government accepted in principle for implementation in 1924. But however, like in present era, it has taken another 15 years for the government to decide on its actual execution. Another 15 years. Then with all these circumstances, he left the project and he even left the country to leave to England and returned only on the request of the colonial secretary. Then in 1926, he was appointed as the chief engineer PWD. Then again, he started the interest on electrification. While setting up the Department of Government Electrical Undertakings, Engineer Wimalasurendra was appointed to the position of chief engineer. But however, with all his attempts being not listened, he got frustrated. This versatile professional got the early retirement at the age of 55 in 1929. Then without giving up the idea in view of promoting his vision and to take off, Engineer Wimalasurendra then decided to enter the National Estate Council, and he was elected representing Ratnapura in 1931. As a member of the Ratnapura seat, and he spent there 4.5 years serving as an executive committee member. He obtained. He then again lobbied and restarted the works on hydropower that was uncompleted earlier. As a result, the Laksapana hydropower scheme, which had started in 1924 and stopped at that time, was resumed in 1938 and eventually completed in 1950. Laksapana was completed. So in 1933, he proposed the formation of the Central Electricity Authority. And in 1935, National State Council passed the Electrical Board Establishment Ordinance 1935. However, the board was dissolved in 1937 and the DGEU was re-established. So during the period 31 to 36, as a member of the State Council, he continued to advocate strongly using as a cheap source of power, that is hydropower. Engineer Wimalasurendra, he, at the age of 75th year, when that was in 1950, the Laksapana project was finally completed when he was at the age of 75. So Engineer Wimalasurendra, today we call as the father of electricity in Sri Lanka. This versatile professional passed away on August 10, 1953. So with that conclusive remark and the introduction, I pass over the forum to the Executive Secretary to proceed on with the proceedings. Thank you very much for assembling here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President. Let me have the privilege of introducing our speaker today. Lalit Khatapitiya is the founder and chairman of the KIK Group of Companies. His entrepreneurial journey began in 1994, following decades of valuable experience gained across both public and private sector organizations. Starting from modest beginnings, he went on to build KIK into a globally recognized organization in electromechanical engineering. Throughout his career, he has received several prestigious accolades, including the Presidential Export Award and the title of Entrepreneur of the Year in 2004 by the Federation of Chambers of Commerce in Sri Lanka. Beyond his business achievements, Mr. Khatapitiya is an inventor holding multiple international patents. He's a chartered engineer and a fellow of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka, the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, and the Institution of Engineering and Technology in the UK. His passion for leadership development has also made a significant impact. As Sri Lanka's first distinguished Toastmaster, he has played a pivotal role in establishing many Toastmaster clubs in the country, empowering individuals to enhance their communication and leadership skills. In recent years, Mr. Khatapitiya has begun sharing his wealth of experience through writing. His books, The Essence of Purposeful Success and Start With You, both published on Amazon, focus on personal growth and the leadership, inspiring readers to achieve success with purpose and integrity. His journey is not only about building businesses, but about leading with vision and uplifting others along the way. Having said that, I now respectfully invite our speaker.
In the heart of these emerald hills, where water has carved the landscape for millennia, one man saw more than just natural beauty. he saw the future. He saw white gold. This is the story of Devapura Jayasena Wimalasurendra, the visionary engineer who dared to dream of a self-sufficient industrialized nation. Born in 1874 at a time when British rule dictated the pace of progress, Wimalasurendra was an exceptional student, a proud son of the soil who understood the immense potential of his homeland. He was a pioneer in every sense. In an era when engineering was a foreign profession, he became one of the first Sri Lankan to qualify as both a chartered civil and electrical engineer. While his British superiors were busy searching for mineral gold, Wimalasurendra was captivated by the power of water. He saw the Laksapana Falls and knew that the true treasure was not beneath the earth, but in the untamed power flowing from the mountains. His 1918 paper, Economics of Hydropower Utilization in Ceylon, was not just a technical document. It was a manifesto for a modern Sri Lanka. He laid out a detailed vision for a national grid powered by the country's own rivers to fuel industry and light every home. But his progressive ideas were met with skepticism and resistance. Undeterred, Wimalasurendra pressed on. He retired early from public service to enter politics, a move driven by a singular purpose: to fight for his hydroelectric dream from within the state council. He became the tireless advocate for a project that would transform a nation. His struggle was a battle of faith, persistence, and unwavering patriotism against the tide of colonial indifference. Though he did not live to see the full realization of his vision, the fruits of his labor illuminate our lives today. The Laksapana hydroelectric scheme, his brainchild, stands as a testament to his indomitable spirit. From the first small hydro plant he built to the vast network that powers our nation, his legacy is one of light, progress, and self-reliance. Today, as we gather to honor his memory, we pay tribute to the father of hydropower, a man who saw a future others could not and dedicated his life to building it 1 kilowatt at a time. His story is a powerful reminder that true progress begins with a single brilliant idea and the courage to see it through.
Distinguished President of the ISL, guests, engineers, fellows, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Now this video we just saw, I was told that it was produced today morning. Am I right? Sure, no? The video that we saw just now was produced when? Today morning. That shows the dedication of our engineers and the capability to produce such an informative video in this very short notice. They thought about it and immediately produced. When I received in the morning, I asked Zara, when did you make it? I have not seen. It was made today in the morning. I was so surprised. I believe the people who produced that, the team, needs a huge round of applause. Thank you very much. That's the dedication we need from the engineers. And especially at a day that we are commemorating the contributions of Engineer Wimalasurendra in the auditorium that is named after him, Wimalasurendra Auditorium, is a very special day. And we heard enough from the video also. We heard most of his achievement, what he has done, and all of us know what he has done for our country. The country is right now also, we are benefiting him. He is no longer there. He passed away maybe 71 years back. But still, 71 or 72 years ago, but still, his thoughts are generating wealth to the country. And that's the legacy that he left. So, the best that we can do for him is follow the footpath that he showed us. The lessons he taught without lectures, but by practice. Now we need to identify, because he didn't keep on lecturing or writing the books, at least at that time, giving the lessons, but all from his actions and whatever he practiced, we can guess the lessons that he showed us. And today what I'm trying to tell you is by analyzing what he did. I'm trying to discuss with you how and what strategies he followed, what are the special things that he did to make such huge achievements, so that we too can follow and then at least be closer to him and then bring this nation into a different place. Now, he is known as a person who saw light in the rivers. He is a person who is detailed as the father of hydroelectricity in Sri Lanka. With all that, that's what he did. Now, even without him, what he can do right now through his lessons to this nation is enormous, is invaluable. So we need to learn those lessons. The first thing that he showed us through his own practices is the vision he had. The moment he saw the waterfalls, we admire the beauty when we see the waterfalls. But beyond that, he saw making a nation more prosperous with the water that is flowing down and then going to the sea without making any other contribution other than the agriculture. So when he came out with this vision, it was bothering him so much. And he thought and thought and thought. The first thing that he did, as you were told, was making that small mini hydro plant in New Delhi. So there he showed that the first mini hydro in this country, there he showed that lights can be lit with, or bulbs can be lit with just water. So that's a vision which really changed the nation's destiny. With all, but we followed so many other wrong policies in this country, which made the country bankrupt. But if we followed policies like what engineer Wimalasurendra showed us, this country would never have come up to that place. Even without him, this country, what we faced a couple of years back, the bankruptcy would have been worse if he did not produce hydropower. Imagine the number of energy that these hydropower projects would have been giving us all these years. Imagine if we had to spend foreign exchange buying kerosene oil or coal or whatever from abroad. That's a very powerful vision. He went out of the box. The traditional way of producing energy at that time was either kerosene oil or maybe coal or whatever that was imported during especially the colonial times. But then, thinking out of the way, out of the box, when hydroelectricity was not a common thing, he showed everybody that different things can be done. So it's again thinking out of the box. So as engineers, we have to go out of our traditional ways of thinking. Completely go out of traditional ways of thinking. Whenever new engineers come to our company, the first thing I tell them is don't follow just the rules or practices in this company. Just think that those are not right. See how you can improve it. That's the first advice the new engineers get from me when they enter. I mean, we just ask them to follow some rules. What is the idea of their brains then? They'll have to think in a different way. So when fresh brains come in, it has to be allowed to think independently. So today, thinking of these lessons, the first, let us keep in mind, let us think in a different way. So to go to the next slide, again, this is what I explained, vision ahead of time. This vision that he came up, which was in 1918, as you were told, we saw in the video also, and our president explained very well. He, with just the vision, he just couldn't do anything. As you know very well, He tried many times. He came to the then, it was not IESL at that time. It was probably a different name. It was not institution even. Still on Engineering Association. And then came out with these papers. Nothing worked, nothing worked. These papers don't just work. Papers were given. He kept on pushing the governments. Nothing worked. He became a politician. But he was certain about his vision. He followed it and followed it and followed it. When he saw the bureaucrats coming against him, he went to the council and then gave up the government job and went there. All because he was following that dream. So it is, again, the clarity. He was sure of what he's following up. Whenever we have a dream, it's very important to have clarity. Sometimes we have dreams and we try to chase it with no clarity. Even in our job descriptions, if we are not 100% certain of what we are expected to do, we may produce real results, we may produce some results. But then, without a clear vision, very specific, clear vision, can anything be done? This is a very good example of how a clear vision, crystal clear, water turned into electricity. Whether people support or not, he wanted that happen. The vision was very clear. So, another lesson that we are going to learn is that clarity. We need to really be very specific, clear in every vision, everything what we decide to achieve. If we don't have clarity, we are not going to go anywhere. We'll go somewhere halfway. But the crystal clear definition or explanation or knowledge of the clarity will take us to the right destination. So let's look at the other one. Again, we discussed about a vision, going out of the box and having a vision, the clarity. Then, of course, nothing can be done without resistance. You try to do anything. Sometimes people laugh. I can imagine in my company, once we were putting up a building and we were having a meeting with so many engineers. There were electrical engineers, there were civil engineers who were doing the buildings, and we had a problem of getting the electricity into the workstations. So I didn't like various cables dropping, and I said, well, it looks ugly. Can't we have those cables unseen coming to the workstations? So then the electrical engineer said, then of course we need to have a false flow. By that time, the ceiling had taken about another 2 feet or 3 feet of our space from the top, because the air conditioning ducts were on top of that. It was not that enough to put up a false flow. So I was thinking, think about it. Isn't there any way? So people said, no, that's the only way. And then there was no way out. One of the officers there, who was our accountant, person in charge of the finance department, what he said is, so why don't we take it from the ground, flow underneath, drill some holes and take it out? Because underneath was just another sort of a small factory which is not that worried about the aesthetics. Everybody laughed the moment he said it, ridiculed him. But at the end of the day, people realized, but that's the right thing to do. And that's how we did. And even today, the office runs beautifully with no cables to be seen, everything taken under from the next flow in a duct and then taken up from the right place. So all these are different ways, but overcoming resistance and being resilient is extremely important. Even in our journey, even as an entrepreneur, it was not easy. There had been times that we had to be very resilient, even without orders. There was a time I can remember, we had no orders some time back. That was maybe I'm talking about 25, 30 years ago story. I would have had probably around 30, 35 employees during that time. And when we had no work, we were thinking now how to feed these staff, even 30 people, they have to pay salaries. With little work, we were finding it difficult. This was going on and on and on. But then I was not ready to give up. Easiest thing is to give up that industry, close it, and then do something else. But I was sure we were doing the right thing, right product, making the right product, doing the right thing. Demand has come down. So I had two challenges. One is to keep the people, because I saw somebody writing an application to leave the company because there was no work. So important thing is to keep the people. And the other thing is to find work. So all what I did, I went and then got some various sports goods like badminton rackets, carom boards, drafts boards and all that. Went to the little workplace we had and told them, play. Took some books. I said, read. Come to work on time, read, play, and enjoy. We'll find work someday. But for me, I still didn't have a plan, but I was confident we hang on and we'll find it. One day, early morning, this idea came to my mind. Why not we start exporting? The demand has come down here. So my wife and I, next day morning, went to the BOI and inquired about setting up a factory there. And that's how we started these export operations in the Katunayaka Free Trade Zone. That made us grow and export to the world. Because we didn't have enough demand here without giving up. We were resilient and then found ways of doing things. So this resilience is something that he showed. When years and years and years, when nobody was helping him to start with hydropower, did engineer Wimalasurendra give up? No. He did everything possible until he was successful. So today, we are going to have this determination never to give up. Never to give up. In whatever we follow, we'll find a way out. If the vision is clear, there is always a way out, reaching there. So we don't have to just stop halfway. The lesson of resilience, third lesson, is a very important thing that he showed us. Another important thing, especially for engineers, even as leaders, maybe political leaders, this can apply. The next one is mastery. When you look at engineer Wimalasurendra, he was a specialist. He knew his electrical engineering, he knew his civil engineering, both very well. So nobody can play the fool with him. He knew what he was talking about. So when we want to do something new, first thing is for us to know what we are doing. So if we try first to learn and then do the things, it becomes more clear and more straightforward. You will not get lost in it. You can always acquire knowledge. There have been cases where we had to acquire knowledge. The proper knowledge can be acquired. But still, it's again mastery. Acquiring knowledge is again mastery. There had been times, these are all things that even we can practice it every day. There was a time that in our industry, we have to find a certain product for us to maintain our quality standards. We were buying from various places in the world. One shipment we get to the quality we want, the other one, that is again not there. Something is wrong. We tried for some time, it didn't work. Then we started getting from China, first from India, then from China. First, super quality products came the first shipment. The second shipment, again, there were lots of rejects. But then we can't be supplying such things to our customers. Products made with such low quality things we can't supply to our customers. So I was talking to the Chinese guys. I said, I'll train somebody to train you on quality, and sent one of our engineers, an expert on quality, and then kept him there for 1 month for him to train the people. Nothing worked. So finally, I decided we'll make it here. But how? I didn't have the expertise. I was not having that knowledge to make those products. That's again, when I'm talking of mastery, knowledge can be acquired. Whether it's acquired, learned, or whatever way you gain, that mastery has to be there. And finally, and especially there's one other thing, when you're really clear about what you want to know, you will see, you start seeing the sources where you can acquire this knowledge. And I found a few people who had the knowledge, recruited them, got them into our company, and then we sourced the necessary machines, put up buildings, acquired land, put up buildings, and made that factory. And that's how things we do when we don't know how to make something, you acquire it, or first learn it, or at least get it from outside. The knowledge is important. As engineers, we are all masters in something. We know our engineering in some areas. Whatever we don't know, we can have synergies. We can get together with other engineers and then join our knowledge together, do many things. Again, it comes to mastery. Something that we need to learn from this great engineer, Wimalasurendra. These are all lessons that he showed us with experience. Now, he was not just knowledgeable about his hydropower. You heard about the railway track and how he made it. As a civil engineer, his knowledge, but he was an exceptional case with a lot of knowledge. Maybe he studied and then he discussed with people. At that time, there was no internet, maybe libraries, and then discussions, visit to other countries, seeing those things and learning by observation. So with all that, again, he has mastered his subject. Whatever we do, try to go to the extreme end and make sure that you have to be excellent in that process. Excellence is something which I really love. Maybe I have been following engineer Wimalasurendra from my childhood. I would have noted those things from him. My previous bosses in this audience, Mr. Parakrama Jayasinghe, for whom I worked for many years. I always call him the best boss I ever had, because he realized the value of me. Whatever I did to the extreme, the best of my ability. And he was very happy about whatever I produced. So I told this because it's so important. It may be handling of people, may it be making of products, may it be of anything. If I do anything, my first thing is doing it to the extreme end. Extreme excellence is the word that we need to keep in mind for mastery of anything. That really, even the company was, KIK company, I had no idea of setting up an industry. When I resigned because I wanted to have a little free time to start another small business. But I was forced by one of the customers to manufacture and give him certain things. When I said I have resigned from the company, I'm sorry, I have no way of doing it. He visited me at my home, put a lot of money on my table, and he said, you helped me to acquire this project when I was there. Now, don't say that you have resigned. I took that project trusting you. I said, well, there are enough people. I will introduce to you many people who can do it. I'll train people who can do it. Please give it to them. He shouted at me and said, no. I trusted you and got it, and I want you to do it. And he just put the money on the table, and I said, I don't have anything. He said, that's your problem. Give me the products from somewhere. So I was forced to start an industry, and that's how truly KIK started. So these are all real stories of seeking to making excellence. You master the subject, whatever you do. Go to the extreme end, make the right product. Lakshapavana power station is still giving us energy. Look at the excellence that he has produced. The visions, the excellence. So these are things that we need to really keep in mind. There's no halfway doing, no making low quality things. All need to be excellent. Other thing, the next thing that we go is about advocacy. You can have good visions. You can have the best knowledge. You should be able, you'll have the capability of making excellent products, master of anything. But what if you don't get support from the government, from the authorities, or from the others? That's where you need to really convince the others. How many of us do that? We always blame the politicians and say, when we tell the politicians, they don't do it. It's up to us to push them, to convince them, to tell them this is the way that has to be done. These are lessons that these great engineers taught us. Again, as I said, not by lectures, not with lectures. He didn't come to universities and lecture, but he did it practically and showed us, learn from me. He didn't say that, but then it is up to us to learn from him. That is the best tribute that we can pay him, by following what he taught us, what he showed us, doing the same thing and taking this nation into a different level. We should be able to convince others. We should be able to convince people, show things in a different way. Yesterday, I was asked to come and be the keynote speaker of an upcoming, the launch of curtain raise of an event called Global Economic and Technology Summit, which will be held in London. So that was great. It's fairly a big gathering at the Kingsbury Hotel. And all of them were talking about bringing some investors here. So in my keynote speech, what I told them is, this country, don't bring people to invest here to supply into this country. Look at it in a different way. And then I showed the audience and the organizers that from Sri Lanka, anything can be sent to more than 50% of the world's population, more than 50% of the world's consumers within 5 hours by air or 5 days by sea. Who else can do that? And I said, those days when we used to buy various things, we used to go to Poland. Even to buy the commodities, you go to the Poland or the market or a shop and buy things. And that's those days. But now things are different. It's the speed and convenience that business is happening. Now we just take the phone and then order it online. Couple of minutes later, the goods come here. The speed and again, the convenience. So the speed and convenience that can be offered from Sri Lanka needs to be showcased to the people who are coming here. So end of the speech, the organizers came and said, you showed us the way to convey the message to the people for them to come here, because they also realize that from nowhere in the world, people can make something or trading or services or whatever, and make something and then supply within 5 hours by air or 5 days by sea. This is such a unique position we have. We showed this as a marketplace. And then as a result, country went bankrupt. Within 20 years from the year 2002, by way of trade deficit, we lost $128 billion. And we went bankrupt because we didn't have 80 billion a few years back. But we forgot that we lost 128 billion in 20 years just with wrong policies. And you would just blame the politicians about corruption. That's a different figure probably. I have not worked out. I don't know how to work out that figure. But the figures that you can work out with the central bank statistics is the losses we made, you and I made by trading with foreign countries. These are the things that we did not push the governments to change. I had been doing it for a couple of times, but my force had not been enough. Many people started laughing at me. My good friend, Dr. Howard Nicholas, who is a famous economist, had been saying this for a long time. He was born in this country because his father was the superintendent of the Gikinagan estate when he was born. He is my age. And because of that, he loves this country. He had been coming and saying for many years, you have been taught wrong economics. Now, don't just follow what had been taught in the books. All this is all nonsense. If you do like this, if you search for with his name, Howard Nicholas, and say development banks, you'll find a nice clip that he was talking in 2017, saying how development banks was deprived for Sri Lanka. Again, wrong theories. So we need to come out as engineers, we need to be very innovative and come out with the right thing and advocate, and then push it through with a lot of force. ISL as an organization, we can all get together and push anything as long as our purpose is clear and we have a noble purpose. We'll all get together for that whenever we have to push something really hard in the right direction. We have a huge membership here. We need to make use of them to push the governments in the right direction, not just to follow whatever people say. We have to show the way and then convince them, like engineer Wimalasurendra did long time back. He tried his best to just tell the governments, didn't work, went into the government, and then tried various strategies until he really did it. So similarly, advocacy is something as engineers we need to master. Without that, things will not happen. We just can't say, okay, we told that then they didn't do, but end of the day, what has happened? Nothing has been done. So if you have to do things, we have to make it happen. Again, that's what he taught us. The next thing, nothing can be done alone. As engineers, we need to work as teams. This solo work never works. Maybe for a lawyer, somebody might work sometimes, but that also I'm not sure in the present context whether that will work even. But then as engineers, whenever we have things, we need people. We have to convince others. We need to really get things done. Convince people. There was a time that we get people around and then tell them, do this. That era is completely gone. Nobody works on orders now. At any level, may it be even a shop floor person or a laborer, we need to inspire them to work. You just can't pay some money and say, just go and do this. Maybe 1 or 2% people will be like that, but the rest have to be inspired. People work with inspiration. They work with will. They work with their heart put into the things. These are all things engineer Wimalasurendra, whenever he did projects, you can see how devotedly people worked when the floods killed so many people in Lakshapana. People sacrificed their lives for this great person's vision. They were all so dedicated. They didn't mind, whether it's day or night, they were inspired to follow this vision, and they worked. And again, a good lesson for us to keep in mind. Whenever we are doing something, we need to really know how to build our own teams. Team building is a must. If we try to do something on our own, it will be a failure. Legacy. The legacy that engineer Wimalasurendra created today is still alive. We all have the lights from our hydropower stations with the vision that he had. He pioneered. He pushed with a lot of force and put it to action. Now, what is your vision? What is your vision, and what is the legacy that we are going to leave to the next generation? As engineers, we have a duty to create the future for the next generations. ISL need to play a huge role in driving that, getting people to get activated and then work for a vision. These are the way that we can pay our respect to this great engineer, Wimalasurendra. The way he did things, we learn from him, just follow his footsteps, and that's the best that we can do. Think about what you can do for this nation, for us to create a legacy that will go beyond our lives. The next generations will be benefited with that. We don't have to even limit to this renewable power. It can be even different things. Today, you start thinking, what legacy are we going to leave? What legacy am I going to leave for the next generations? We all have the capability. We all have equal capabilities of what engineer Wimalasurendra had. It's a matter of how we put everything together, how we put things together and then do things. I see some lack of our being together. Sometimes we still try to do things on our own. It doesn't work. Always teamwork plays. The lessons that we learned today, I discussed today, are the secrets of success of engineer Wimalasurendra. For us to pay real tribute to him, we must remember these 7 principles that he followed. Thinking out of the box, as I first mentioned. Just don't think of the standard traditions. Out of traditional ways, you think in a different way. Clarity, very clear of whatever we are saying or imagining. Not a blurred vision. It has to be crystal clear. Resilience. Are we ready to give up? No. If you give up, huge problem. I don't know, for some reason, from my childhood, I had no idea of giving. Never. When I first saw my wife, when I went to see her, I fell in love at the first sight, and then she said, no, I don't like him. So complete rejection. Of course, if I have used to give up, I would have given up and then found a different partner. But then once I set my mind in, I just can't give up. So after a few days of persuasion, here she is with me today, after 43 years too. So that's the power of persuasion. So don't think it's something that you need to really think small. Mastery. Due to the extreme men, master whatever you are doing or acquire the knowledge. Advocacy. We should be able to convince the others. All these are these 7 lessons were the secret of his success. That's how he did so many things. We have to really remember, are we following these things? Where are we lacking? think about whatever happened in your lives and see, where did I miss? How you collaborate with each other, how you get your people to partner with you, and what legacy are you going to create to the next generation. All what we can think and pray today is Engineer Wimalasurendra saw light in our waterfalls. May we too have the innovative visions and have the courage and resilience to turn those into reality. If we keep this in mind, that's the biggest tribute we can pay to this great leader, Engineer Wimalasurendra. So let's wish him, in whatever the religion, I believe he would have been a Buddhist or Nirvana or whatever. For us, we need to pay tribute to him, and the tribute we'll pay by just following his footsteps. I wish you all good luck.
Thank you very much, Engineer Lalit Khatapitiya, for your highly informative and adorable speech. To pay our tribute to the speaker, let me now invite President and President-elect to present the token of appreciation, along with our Chairman of the Sectional Committee concerned. Thank you very much. Our last item today is to deliver the vote of thanks. Let me respectfully invite Engineer Ms. Sara Marzo, Chairman of Electrical, Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering Section.
A very good evening to all. So first of all, let me express my heartfelt, sincere gratitude to our memorious orator today, Engineer Lalit Khatapitiya. I think he has done more than justice on this day where we are celebrating a very great engineer of our country. So the messages that he has given, I hope we all will take it into our heart. There are 7 messages. So each of us could relate when he explained what those are. So let's make it a point on this special day where we are celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of a great pioneering engineer of our country, Engineer D.J. Wimalasurendra, to follow in his footsteps, at least if not all, the parts that where we can suit with, where we can choose. So, sir, thank you very much. Again, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion as the speaker today. Next, I would like to thank the President-elect, the Chief Executive Officer of IESL, and all the council members who have been a great support in guiding me in organizing this event today. Without your support, without your guidance, without your consistent follow-up, as I'm a new council member, this wouldn't have been a success. So again, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of you as well. Then, as Engineer Khatapitiya said, the team, the collaboration. It's very important that this kind of event to be executed smoothly, there has to be a teamwork, And there has been a team working behind this tirelessly since the day that we have decided. So the team behind this, the ISS Secretariat, and everyone who supported me in organizing, a very big thank you for you as well. And last but not least, I have to thank the wonderful participants. So my heartfelt gratitude for all of you for attending and gracing this occasion, because without you, this is not a success. And also a special gratitude delivered to the family members of Engineer DJ Wimalasurendra. We are honored and we feel very privileged that we still have the opportunity to meet someone from his family today on this special occasion, because without you, this event wouldn't be so fruitful as it was. So before concluding, let me add a little bit thought from my side as well. So this is from the inaugural speech of John F. Kennedy when he took up the presidency in 1920. While I was listening to the keynote speaker, I just remembered that. In his speech, he says, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. So we are at a very critical juncture in our country, but each of us, instead of pointing fingers towards the government or the politicians, we can start asking ourselves what we can do for our country. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for helping me to make this event a success. And I invite you all to enjoy the fellowship in the members' lodge. Have a good night.